Good morning. It's that time of the day. Time for a cup of tea and a conversation. Let's get ourselves organised here. Now, once again, I have a sleeping baby next to me. So if I do need to get up and grab my husband, I will let you know. I won't stop this. I'll just duck out and do that. But I wanted to take the opportunity. It is International Women's Day today. So I wanted to say happy International Women's Day to you. On this Sunday, the 8th of March, 2020. I thought that was a great opportunity to make the effort to come online with you today and have a cup of tea. And actually, I'm drinking a different tea today. Usually I enjoy my rooibos, as you will have seen, but I am having this tea today. I don't know where I got this. I think I got it in one of the gift packs that I got given when I had my second baby, but it's really, really lovely. I have to say, it's really lovely. What is your favorite tea, actually? Let me find out. I'd love some other suggestions or brands of tea that you really like. We're a bit partial to the old bushels in this house as well, growing up in outback Australia. Don't mind a good black tea. I also don't mind an Irish breakfast black tea. This is proving to be very delicious, and I love a rooibos, but you got to get the right brands with the rooibos. None of the vanilla rooibos stuff that Lipton does. That's no good. I'll bring the brand of the rooibos tea that I have next time with you. So I thought today what I wanted to talk to you about today, because this is something that I've been working on for quite some time and continuing to refine my understanding of, was why you justify what you want, and also the idea of acceptance. And also, given it's International Women's Day, it's a great opportunity to talk about these things. But I think it's a good opportunity to talk about these things any day, because they're really important topics that you want to understand and think about. I made a post this morning in my winners circle, and it's gained a lot of engagement really quickly, and I wanted to share it with you. I said, it's not about an easier, better business or career because of your kids, your relationship, or your family. It's because you deserve it to be easy and effortless and to have exactly what you want. I'm going to say that again in a minute. I've just got a message to reply to here. I apologize. My husband needs the computer password on the other side of the door. Hang on a second. What is that computer password? I think that will sort him out. So I made this post this morning. It's not about an easier, better business or career because of your kids, your relationship, or your family. It's because you actually deserve it just to be easier and more effortless, and for you to have exactly what you want. And when I made that post, it led me to really think a little bit more about that and how often you justify what you want. And why do you do that? Now, think about it. When you say you want your goal, you'll probably, whether it's internally or even if you're sharing it with somebody else, you justify why you want it. Well, I want it because. Why do you want it? Well, I want it because. What if you stop saying that? And instead of saying that you want something because, you actually just said, just because. That's it. That is it. And notice when you start to do that, how freeing it is to not justify your position or what you want or how you want to live because of something outside of you. You justify it within yourself because you are source energy. You are pure positive energy, and you can have whatever you want. And you deserve to have whatever your spirit desires for you to have. And you just accept it. And that's it. That's where the conversation ends. There's no resistance or struggle in trying to justify or feel worthy of or anything. It's just, well, I want this just because. And the more I've studied and thought about this and joined the dots on how all of this works together, is you tend to justify or want to justify your position on your wants because you're looking for acceptance outside of you. You're looking to fit or constrain with some sort of social norm that is not even of your own making. It's because if you think back, your mother said to you, why do you want that? What makes you think you deserve that? And so, or your father or your partner or your brother or your sister. And so every time you have a desire, you have a want for something greater, you're always justifying it through that lens of what you've been exposed to in your environment. Or you're trying to justify your position on wanting more based on some sort of social norm. Am I making sense? Is this resonating with you? I think it will be resonating with you because I think that you will know what I'm telling you is true, but you may not have really stopped to think about it in this way before. So when you become aware of something that you really want, just start to accept the idea for yourself. I want to encourage you not to look at the idea and then look at it through a number of lenses. Well, why should I want that? Is it really right for me? Can I really have it? What if you just said, yeah, I want that just because, and that's it? How light and freeing that will be for you. And that's what we want for your energy. We want you to have that lightness of you and that no resistance around the good that you desire, and to start to understand who you really are. Now, the other reason why you try to justify or look at outside circumstances or justifications outside of yourself is because you've forgotten who you really are. Now, you are trying to measure yourself up to something or someone or some outside circumstance, or acknowledge within yourself, yeah, I want that because I've worked hard, or I want that because I should have that, or I want that because, as opposed to just saying just because I know and understand that I am source energy, and that there is a spiritual essence within me that always wants expansion. And so I'm always going to want more and desire more, and I don't need to justify that. That is actually just a normal and natural pathway of my human existence, of the spiritual nature of myself in seeking expansion. The law of the universe wants expansion. It doesn't want for disintegration. That it is normal and natural for me to desire more, that my mind is a center of divine creation, and divine is always for expansion and fuller expression. It's because you've forgotten those things about you that you want to justify or position yourself relative to something outside of yourself when you think about your wants. Make sense? You might need to watch this a few times through. I think this will be a really good one for you to go back and sit with and really think about. And so, and when you think about it, it's not like you're aware of that enough that when someone says, why do you want that, that you can turn around and say, well, I'm source energy. I'm pure positive energy. I can have anything that I want and I get what I want. Right? And you're not wise enough or smart enough to then remove yourself from that conversation. So you sit there trying to justify within your own self or to somebody else why you want what you want, when you don't need to justify it at all. You can just accept it and say, just because, and smile, and then drink your cup of tea. See how easy it is then? There's no resistance. There's no resistance around your wants or desires. If you have a big purpose, why do you think that you could do that? Why do you think that you're the one to change the world? Because I'm source energy, because I'm pure positive energy. See what I mean? Like, it's that easy. So there's no need for you to justify why you want a better business, or to say that it's because you've got kids or because of a relationship or because of your family. You just can start to accept that I deserve better, that I deserve to have a more fun business and a business where I can earn more money. I deserve because I want to earn more money. That's it. I just want. Not because of, I got to put the kids through college, or I got to get a bigger house, or I got to buy a bigger car, or anything like that. You can just start to say to yourself, well, I want what I want just because. And actually just understand that you're worth it, and that you deserve to have the things that you want, and that you do deserve a better business, a career that you would love. You do deserve to earn the amount of money that you feel you want to earn, and to have the time freedom. Not because you've worked hard for the last decade that all of a sudden you deserve to have 2 days a week with your family. you deserve to have it because it's what you want and you're worthy of it. And you are pure positive energy. And if you desire it, you can have it. So no need to justify outside of yourself. You just say, just because I am a spiritual being and I am worth having the things that I truly desire for myself, whatever that is. Am I making sense? And then you start to accept the idea, and you just accept the idea. And that's where you start. That is your point of entry. The starting point for anything is where you are right now. So you don't need to then worry about how or if or anything else. You just accept the idea. And the more you come to understand this truth about yourself, that you are source energy, that you're pure positive energy, that you are a spiritual being, pure spirit, gifted with an intellect, a beautiful mind, and you live in a physical body, the more you understand that truth and you trust in that truth, you will realize you can create anything that you want. It's your ignorance of that truth and the lack of understanding of the application of that truth that causes you to doubt what it is that you want for yourself. Making sense? Again, listen to this a couple of times through. And so the more you study that about yourself, the more you realize not only are you worth whatever you want, you deserve to have what you want, and that you are the creator of what you want. That is your purpose, to understand that you are the creator of what you want and that you are the creator of your entire universe, of your entire world. Nothing can exist in this universe without you being a part of it. Really think about that. That the power flows to and through you. That the power is not outside of you, the power is within you, and you create from it. And the more you accept that, the more you will cease looking for justifications outside of yourself why you want something. When you have a desire, it is the spiritual nature of you seeking expression. Think about that. When you desire something, instead of that desire being because of something outside of yourself, start to understand that that desire within you is the spiritual nature of who you are. It's the beingness that you have always been, looking for physical manifestation, more of you, looking to express itself physically. What you want to also understand is that the physical side of you is the lowest and last level that anything manifests. And so when you have these desires come from spirit. They come from the spiritual side of you, the energy side of you, the source energy side of you. And they are looking to incarnate themselves in the physical beingness of you, the physical side of you. And so you want to start to recognize that and really get connected to who you really are. And that those desires are truths for you. Now, whether you accept that and then decide to grow as a person, to physically incarnate that side of you, that desire, is a choice. That is your choice, whether you're willing to do that work on you to bring about the physical manifestation. But you can't deny the truth of what the existence of that desire is, a spiritual part of you seeking expression to and through you to physically manifest on the physical side of your beingness. Make sense? So the more you understand that, the less you need to look for an outside justification as to why you want what you want. You want what you want just because. That's more of you seeking expression physically. I study a lot of the work. I study a lot of different things. I'm obviously, you may or may not know, my mentor is Bob Proctor, and I've worked with him very, very closely for the last, I was going to say decade, it feels like a decade, the last 5 years or so. And one of the books that he has got me to study over the years is a book called The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. And it's a great little book. It's actually, my book has fallen apart, so this is just a little excerpt of it at the moment. And this was lying just on my bedside table, one particular page of it. And a couple of days ago, it caught my eye, and this particular page, and I read it, and I read it again, and I read it again, and I was like, whoa, this is powerful. And I've studied Neville for years and years and years, as I have studied all of the work that we teach at the Proctor Gallagher Institute. And I studied all of this off the back of another decade before I even came across Bob. Well, actually, let's say 3 decades of being Earthside. And when I started to work with Bob, lots of these dots started to join of bits of information or awarenesses that I have had over the last 3 decades. And it all started to make sense, and really the puzzle started to come together really, really quickly, which is why I always say you can make a quantum leap. In 6 months, you can do what once took you 6 years to do when you really get serious about learning how to do this. Now, you might not be ready for that, and that's fine. But if there is a desire to learn more and know more about this, then you should lean into that. Anyway, I was reading this particular page. I'm going to read. It's only 3 pages. It's really short and sweet, and you'll love it. And I flicked back, and of course, the chapter was on acceptance. And I thought, of course it is. And I read these 3 pages and I was like, whoa, this is really, really good. And it's a great reminder. And it's a great segue from that conversation we've just been having around why you try to justify what you want. And there's no need for you to do that you don't desire a better, easier business or career because you've got kids, because you've got a relationship, because of family. You don't want it to be easier and better for you because of those things. You want it to be easier and better just because you deserve to have an easier and better business career, and you deserve to have what you want. So I want to just read through these 3 pages with you and just talk a little bit about them. I mean, I could spend a year just talking about what's in these 3 pages, but I'll just give you the little sprinkling of sugar on top of this topic for you on acceptance. Man's perceptions are not bounded by organs of perception. He perceives more than sense, though ever so acute, can discover. However much you seem to be living in a material world, you are actually living in a world of imagination. I'm just going to have a cup of sip of tea first. I love that. You're actually living in a world of imagination, and you really are, because your physical world is created from your imagination, which is why it's really important that you become a conscious creator, a deliberate creator, that you become very deliberate in what you think and how you feel and how you act, because you are creating all of that from images in your imagination. Actually, images in your subconscious mind produce the product of what you experience physically. So however much you seem to be living in a material world, you are actually living in a world of imagination. The outer physical events of life are the fruit of forgotten blossom times, results of previous and usually forgotten states of consciousness. So what you're experiencing today is a product of where you were a month ago, 3 months ago, 12 months ago. So you want to remember that the physical is the last and lowest level that anything manifests. So we have it spiritually, we have it mentally, we see it in our imagination, we get emotionally involved with it, and then it manifests physically. They are the ends running true to oftentimes forgotten imaginative origins. So it started in your imagination, is what he's saying. Whenever you become completely absorbed in an emotional state, you are at that moment assuming the feeling of the state fulfilled. So what was the last thing you got really emotionally involved with? Was it something really good of what you really wanted, or was it something not so good or not what you wanted? Most people live their lives in a state of fear or worry or doubt or procrastination or worrying about things not yet seen or created, but in actual getting emotionally involved with the things that they don't want, they manifest the things that they don't want more often in their lives. Maybe you're doing this. Maybe you're not. Maybe you've got all this figured out. Maybe you don't need to be here listening to this today. If persisted in, whatsoever you are intensely emotional about you will experience in your world. Now, this was written in the early 1900s. It's pretty heavy going, but I'm explaining it to you as we go. If persisted in, so this emotional state that you persist in, whatsoever you are intensely emotional about, whatever you give lots of energy and emotion to, you experience in your world. How often do you worry about money or not enough of it, or when the next lot will come, or if it will come in the quantities that you desire, right? You perpetuate those physical states, which is actually not what you want. But this is where we've got to teach you how to think differently about your circumstances, about the things that you desire, so that you can create them more easily and more effortlessly, not because you deserve that for any other reason outside of yourself, but just because you're worth it and you deserve to know and understand this in a better and greater way. These periods of absorption, of concentrated attention, are the beginnings of the things you harvest. So what you give attention to, you will harvest and reap physically. It is in such moments that you are exercising your creative power. You're either going to create what you want or what you don't want in these moments. The only creative power there is, and you create from this power flowing to and through you. It's liquid gold. It's beautiful energy that will go and create anything that you want. Thomas Troward talks about this a little differently. He talks about the infinitude, and that you are an infinitude, and that the physical side of you is the kingdom that you look out upon, that you have created from within, from this source energy. At the end of these periods or moments of absorption, you speed from these imaginative states where you have not been physically to where you were physically an instant ago. Let me read that again. At the end of these periods or moments of absorption, so what you're really focused in, you speed from these imaginative states, so you create momentum, where you have not been physically, so you're not there physically yet, to where you were physically an instant ago. In these periods, the imaginative state is so real that when you return to the objective world and find that it is not the same as the imaginative state, it is an actual shock. So this is where you can start to be a conscious creator and really create what you want from within, using your 6 mental faculties to control the flow and focus on the things that you do want. As you use those 6 mental faculties, you create momentum forward and you produce in physical reality where you have been in imagination a period of time ago. In these periods, the imagined state is so real that when you return to the objective world and find that it is not the same as the imaginative state, it is an actual shock because it was so real in your imagination. You were actually there. You have seen something in imagination with such vividness that you now wonder whether the evidence of your senses can be believed. And like Keats, you ask, what it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music, do I wake or sleep? So your senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, they're your sensory factors. They're not your intellectual or mental faculties. And so your imagination is one of your 6 mental faculties. And he says, you have seen something in imagination with such vividness. What are you imagining? Is it what you want or what you don't want? That you now wonder whether the evidence of your senses can be believed. And like Keats, you ask, was it a vision or a waking dream? So you want to understand you have the power to be able to do this, that you create your future through your imagination. And where you go in imagination, you will go physically because you are wielding that power into a physical state on your behalf. It's yours to make whatever you want with. This shock reverses your time sense. By this is meant that instead of your experience resulting from your past, it now becomes the result of being in imagination where you have not been yet physically. Let me say that again. Instead of your experience resulting from your past, so instead of what you experience today coming from the past, it now becomes the result of being in imagination. You live in imagination where you have not yet been physically. And as you live in imagination where you have not yet been physically, you go there physically, right? In effect, this moves you across a bridge of incident to the physical realization of your imagined state. The man who at will can assume whatever state he pleases has found the keys to the kingdom of heaven. You get what you want. The keys are desire, imagination, and a steadily focused attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. All of these things we've touched on today. And like I say, I'm just giving you the sprinkling of the sugar on these topics today. There is a whole field underneath it. This is the tip of the iceberg, and there are hundreds of meters of infinite levels that you can understand this on. To such a man, any desirable object, fact, is no longer a reality, and ardent wish no longer a dream. So fact, what you see is no longer reality, and the ardent wish no longer a dream, because you know and you understand you can have what you want. Prove me now herewith, says the Lord of hosts, If I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Malachi 3:10. Isn't that beautiful? Pour out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. One of the things that I've really learned about this whole process is balancing the focus between what you want and letting go to receive something potentially even greater than what you thought you could have. And that has certainly been my experience, even where we are living at the moment. It is greater than I could have actually imagined for myself, but I was so lined up and tapped into the state that I desired, and I was so non-resistant to receiving the good that I desired, that source energy, God, source, brought me something even greater than I could have imagined in an easier, more effortless way than I could have imagined, because there was no resistance, because I had full acceptance around the good that I desire. The windows of heaven may not be opened and the treasures seized by a strong will, but they open of themselves and present their treasures as a free gift, a gift that comes when absorption reaches such a degree that it results in a feeling of complete acceptance. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to read that again. The windows of heaven may not be opened and the treasures seized by a strong will. So you don't have to force this. Yes, the will is one of your 6 mental faculties, but you don't have to force this. They will open of themselves and present their treasures as a free gift, a gift that comes when absorption reaches such a degree that it results in a feeling of complete acceptance. It's a knowingness. It's knowing that this is who you really are, that these wants and desires are part and parcel of your spiritual being, and you accept them. You no longer try to justify them. You no longer try to figure out how and why they fit into your humanness. You accept them as part and parcel of who you are. And you trust in the stream of power that you're connected with to bring about the physical manifestation of it. And so there's no resistance around this. It's feelings of complete acceptance. The passage from your present state to the feeling of your wish fulfilled is not across a gap. There is continuity between the so-called real and unreal. And this is where we start to study frequency and levels of vibration. And every level is connected to the one below and the one above. So the second you have a desire, you're connected with it, but you're bringing about the physical manifestation of it by orientating yourself mentally and spiritually to a new level of consciousness. And when you connect with that new level of consciousness, that new level of awareness, you allow the physical manifestation. So it's not a gap, you're already connected with it, but you're in one physical reality and you move yourself to a new physical reality. But that physical reality does already exist. To cross from one state to the other, you simply extend your feelers, trust your touch, and enter fully into the spirit of what you are doing. You start to think and act like the person you want to become. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord of hosts. So you get into the energy of the good that you desire. You start to think and act like that person. What would the person I know myself to be, if I honored the truth and the desires that are bubbling to the surface, what would that person do next? You fully get into the spirit. You assume the spirit, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you will have opened the windows to receive the blessing. So another thing that Neville talks about is not thinking about your goal, but starting to think from the place of your goal, which is sort of what he's touching on here. Assume the spirit, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you will have opened the windows to receive the blessing. To assume a state is to get into the spirit of it. Your triumphs will be a surprise only to those who did not know your hidden passage from the state of longing to the assumption of the wish fulfilled. This is something that I get feedback on all the time from my clients. They will have somebody pass comment to them, there's something just different about you, or what have you been studying, or how did you do that? And it's like a surprise to them that all of a sudden you have this dream or this goal that you've always wanted, and they wonder, like, how did that just happen? The Lord of hosts will not respond to your wish until you have assumed the feeling of already being what you want to be. For acceptance is the channel of his action. Acceptance is the Lord of hosts in action. This is so good. This is exactly what my coaching teaches you how to do. So the more you study this, the more you understand the system of success, that there is a science behind it, that we are working with there's my little Eddie, that you're working with pure positive energy and starting to control the flow and understand how to use your mind and how the body creates energy through you, and that you impact on your environment and all of the universal laws and all of these pieces. If you want help with that, I can help you with that. But you might be fine. You might already be well on your way with trying to figure all this out. But certainly if you want help with that, I can help you with this. And sometimes it's nice to have help, not to think that you have to do it all by yourself, or that you can actually cut time off achieving your goals by getting some help and getting some guidance around exactly the system to use to be able to live like this, you know. And this is just, like I say, one little part of the whole process around creating what you want and having what you want. So over to you. I would love to hear from you. I would love you to drop me a note. This has been such a big topic today. What is it that you desire that you don't want to have to justify? You don't have to justify it to me. I just accept your wants as your wants and show you how to get it. Send me an email, send me a note, support@karenbrook.com.au. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. What are some of these wants that you have that you perhaps have been trying to justify to yourself why you want it? Maybe just send me an email, send me a note, put in the subject line, just because, ... I would love. No justification. I don't need to know why you want these things. I don't need to know anything about the backstory to it. Just pen it, and it'll be beautiful for you to do that within your own self. And you're sharing it with me, the treasure chest. And I'm not going to come back to you and say, why do you want these things? Why do you think that you can have it? Because I understand how this works. So I want you to take a little bit of time today, and I want you to think about your just because. What is it that you really want? And not to think about why you want it or whether you're worthy of it or whether you can have it. What if you just say, I want this because, just because. And drop me an email. I would love to hear from you. I would love to connect with you. This is why I do what I do, the humanness side of incarnating this work, taking spirit and the mind and teaching you how to do this. So send me a note, just because, and put in there what it is that you desire. I may or may not reply. That doesn't matter. It's you acknowledging within yourself what it is that you truly want. And you want it just because you deserve it, and you deserve to have what you want. You're a spiritual being gifted with an intellect living in a physical body. It has been absolutely delightful to be online with you today and to be sharing another cup of tea with you. We shall wrap up today's cup of tea and a conversation. And I really look forward to hearing from you. And I really encourage you to do this work on you and to take a little bit of time and notepad and pen and do some writing around your just because ... And send me a note, send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. support@karenbrook.com.au. And if you want to find out if I can help you with any of this, feel free to add an extra note into that email, and we can certainly have a look at how I can help you. If I can help you at all, we can certainly start a conversation around that too. Take care. Have a beautiful Sunday. It's been delightful to be here with you, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.